What if you wanted to add 4 beautiful intermediate guitar color chords to your palette for artistic expression, songwriting, or even worship leading? I got you. I'm David Harsh, founder of Guitar Success for You. I love to equip guitarists to discover their potential as they develop their vocabulary for songwriting, performing, worship leading, and personal enjoyment of this amazing instrument. Today, I'm going to show you 4 beautiful color chords in the key of G major that will add a lot of depth to your playing if you explore them. Now, we recently released a video here on our channel about the 4 best beginner chords to learn if you want to gain access to a boatload of songs. If you haven't yet had a chance to check that video out, you may want to take a look, especially if you're just getting started with the guitar. But if you're ready for the next level, let's get started. We'll be in the key of G major again today, and even before we continue, remember that it's music theory and not music fact. I have ways of analyzing these chords and naming them, and if that serves you as a musician at this point, awesome. However, I simultaneously don't want to overload you with chordal analysis, so if you're less inclined toward theory at this point, just enjoy these chords for what they are. Beautiful chords that can add to your artistry. Our first chord is the G add 13 no third. This is the voicing I'd like to show you. Our root note of G is fretted by our first finger on the 6th string as it mutes the 5th string, but then we have our 3rd finger on the F sharp, the 4th fret of the 4th string. Then we have an open G, then our 2nd finger on the D, the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Lastly, we let the open 1st string, the E, ring out. So again, the fingers are 1, X, 3, open, 2, and open. Now, as a strumming guitarist, this sounds good to me. However, as a fingerstyle guitarist, I really like the way these notes shimmer when played separately like this. What do you think? Comments are welcome. So that's the G add 13 no third. Okay, I've got the next chord for you, and spoiler alert, 2 of our fingers aren't going anywhere. Similar to our beginner lesson with the 4 chords I talked about in G major, I invite you to think of your 3rd and 2nd fingers as being glued down to their spots. Here with the 3rd finger on the 4th string, 4th fret for F sharp, and the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string for D. I did this in the previous video, and some people were a little startled. Don't try this at home. But hopefully this image helps you to think as if these 2 fingers are glued down. Okay, this second chord is what I'd call a C add 9 sharp 4. The only difference between this and the G add 13 no third is the location of the 1st finger, the index finger, as it moves from the 6th string G to the 5th string C. Again, fingers 3 and 2 do not move. So the fingers for this chord are 1, 3, open, 2, and open. The C add 9 sharp 4. Quite a beautiful color chord. If you're concerned about the low open 6th string E ringing out, you can lightly mute it with your fretting hand thumb if you want. So we have the G add 13 no third, and then the C add 9 sharp 4. If it's easier, just call these the G and C color chords for now. Ready for the 3rd chord? It's what I call the D major 7 add 11. This one has a bit of what I'd call good dissonance. Now, I'm keeping fingers 3 and 2 in place, but in addition, I'm dropping in my 4th finger, my pinky finger, on the 5th fret of the 5th string for that D. I keep this configuration because of the context of chords we've been hanging out in. But of course, another way to approach it is like this. Create a simple C major chord, which you probably know how to play, and then slide that exact shape up 2 frets so that your index is on fret 3. Same shape, different fingering. Side note, Is it sometimes helpful to have different fingerings or even different voicings for the same chord? I'd say absolutely. It allows us to be more versatile. Okay, so for this D chords fingering in today's set of chords, fingers 3 and 2 remain glued down in this shape, and we also have our 4th finger here on the 5th fret of the 5th string. So the fingers are 4, 3, open, 2, and open, starting with that 5th string. 4, 3, open, 2, and open. Okay, so thus far we have the chords G add 13 no third, C add 9 sharp 4, and D major 7 add 11. G, C, and D color chords. These chords are sounding quite nice. It's good to be us, right? Okay, we've got one more chord today, and as you might expect, before I share it with you, I want to invite you to consider my invitation to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. This is how I can stay in touch with you and let you know about new awesome content that's going to be unlocking right here in the coming days, weeks, and months. I definitely don't want you to miss out. Thanks for considering subbing to the channel. Okay, let's round this out with one of my favorite minor chords, the E minor 9. Ooh, yeah. I learned this chord probably 25 years ago out on the Oregon coast from some dude I met at a conference. Isn't it cool how chords can be added to our toolkit from all kinds of settings over time? Okay, let me show you a way to lock this in. Let's go back to the C add 9 sharp 4. To get to the E minor 9, we can just take our first finger, our index finger, and move it down 1 fret from C to B. That's it. Fingers 3 and 2 remain glued down to their spots. So the fingerings are open, 1, 3, open, 2, and open. We now have all 6 strings ringing for this gorgeous, reflective E minor chord, the E minor 9. I love the way the notes of these 4 chords pivot around these constant 2 notes, the F sharp and the D. Listen. This small collection of color chords is very appealing to my ears and hopefully to yours as well. It's also appealing to me because it can have these 2 fingers glued down or anchored throughout, so it's quite a simple transition between the chords. And as I mentioned, strumming these chords is good, but of course, using fingerstyle really makes these chords shine. I use them in a song I wrote for my daughter, and actually, full disclosure, I wrote the song in A flat major for my voice. But how could I have the same shapes and yet be able to access this new key? You may know the answer. It's the capo. Capo 1 allowed me to move these shapes up from the key of G to the key of G sharp, that are known as A flat. And the song feels, sounds, and works really well there. And if you occasionally use your capo, you know that once you've learned chords, your capo can give you access to new keys. You probably know this, but we could use these same chords in the key of A major, the key of B flat major, the key of B major, and so forth. What about a minor key? Let's go. Same shapes, but focusing around the relative minor tonal center. We could play in the key of E minor, but then use the capo to access the key of F minor, the key of F sharp minor, the key of A minor, and you get the idea. We have so many options with just these 4 unique shapes and a capo. Feel like you have some good tools at your disposal? I hope so. You can use these 4 chords I've just taught you, like in our previous lesson on 4 beginner chords, to access a huge collection of songs. And today's chords will make those songs sound even more elegant and colorful. Now, if you like the sound of today's chords, would it surprise you to know that inside the Guitar Success for You membership, we have an entire module dedicated to fretboard knowledge and a whole collection of color chords in 10 different guitar-friendly keys? No, it probably would not surprise you. Take a peek at guitarsuccessforyou.com to learn more about what we're about and whether you might be a good fit for this experience and our community, and whether we would be a good fit for you. I also include a link to the membership as well as our Guitar Success Formula Masterclass in the description below this video. For now, I entreat you to dig into another great video, 5 tips for greater guitar artistry. You can learn some new rhythm and harmonic tools and take today's knowledge even further. I'll see you there.